When most people ask, "What is GPT-5?" they're usually asking the wrong question. They're looking for a feature list, a benchmark score, a moment that clearly separates before and after. But the real story of GPT-5 isn't about what suddenly became possible. It's about what quietly stopped being necessary. To understand GPT-5, we need to step back and look at the pattern that led here. Early language models were impressive, but narrow. They generated text, but only when guided carefully. They followed instructions, but didn't really understand the situation around those instructions. Each generation improved in visible ways: larger vocabularies, better fluency, fewer obvious errors. But underneath, the structure stayed the same. A model waited. You prompted. It responded. GPT-3 made scale obvious. GPT-4 made reasoning feel more reliable. GPT-5 doesn't dramatically change that interaction on the surface. What it changes is how much effort humans need to spend managing the model. Most coverage talks about GPT-5 in terms of smarter responses, fewer mistakes, better reasoning. Those are real, but they're not the core shift. The deeper change is internal coordination. GPT-5 is less dependent on perfect prompts, rigid step-by-step instructions, constant correction. Not because it's thinking like a human, but because it's better at maintaining coherence across longer spans of context. It holds on to goals, constraints, tone, intent, with less external scaffolding. That's subtle, and it's easy to miss. Why this feels less dramatic than it is. There's no single demo that explains GPT-5. No moment where everyone says, "Okay, now everything changed." And that's exactly the point. GPT-5 improves the reliability curve, not the spectacle curve. It fails less often in boring situations. It stays useful longer without supervision. It degrades more gracefully when things go wrong. Those aren't viral moments. They're infrastructure improvements. And infrastructure rarely looks impressive until you remove it. Here's where things get interesting. As models like GPT-5 become more stable and context-aware, something subtle happens to human behavior. People stop experimenting with prompts. They stop fighting the system. They stop treating the model like a puzzle. Instead, they start delegating longer tasks, letting workflows run, trusting intermediate steps. This shifts AI from a tool you try into a system you rely on. That's not about intelligence, it's about predictability. And predictability changes incentives. What quietly breaks? When models become easier to use, some skills lose their value faster than expected. Prompt craftsmanship matters less. Workarounds matter less. Knowing model quirks matters less. What matters more? Clear goals, good inputs, judgment about outputs. This doesn't remove human responsibility. It concentrates it. Mistakes still happen, but now they scale more easily. And that means oversight becomes structural, not reactive. Common misconceptions about GPT-5. Let's address a few narratives directly. First, GPT-5 is conscious. It isn't. What people interpret as awareness is improved context retention and response consistency. Second, GPT-5 replaces reasoning. It doesn't. It reduces the cost of reasoning, but it still reflects the assumptions you give it. Third, GPT-5 makes humans less relevant. What it actually does is raise the cost of unclear thinking. What this confirms about the direction of AI. GPT-5 confirms a broader trend. AI progress is moving away from flashy capability jumps and toward operational reliability. The goal isn't to surprise users, it's to disappear into workflows. Less, "Look what I can do," and more, "This just works." That's how technology matures. Electricity didn't win because it was impressive. It won because it was dependable. Long-term implications. Over time, models like GPT-5 change how work is coordinated, how decisions are reviewed, how creativity is iterated. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily and unevenly. The biggest shifts won't happen where AI is most advanced. They'll happen where systems quietly become good enough to trust. That's where behavior changes.
GPT-5 isn't a moment, it's a signal that the center of progress has moved from raw capability to stability to integration to trust. And the most important question going forward isn't what can the model do now, it's what assumptions are we building around it. Because when technology stops demanding attention, it starts shaping decisions, quietly, consistently. That's what GPT-5 really represents.